And it's a good morning here. And we have tools, technology, and teamwork with Ted Limon on Future Media TV. I'm Russ Johns and my co-host Marion LaSalle with our very special guest, Ted Limon, in the room, talking about things that we deal with every single day in business. And today's subject is we're going to be talking about dealing with difficult people.
Those little brats.
So Ted, kind of walk us through how to frame this conversation today. How do you define, what's the definition of a difficult person for our conversation?
Sure.
Because, I mean, we can all talk about what we describe as difficult people, and it could all change depending on the day and the mood, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So for this specific conversation, we want to be able to kind of dial in what that definition is and how it impacts our business every single day.
Yeah.
Who is Ted first? Hi, Ted.
Hi, Ted.
How are you?
Good morning. Well, I am a coffee addict. And
yes.
Hi,
yeah, that's right. Need to have coffee in my hand. Anybody that loves coffee is my friend. So
I love you, Ted.
All right. Cheers on that. Good morning, everybody. My name is Ted Limon. I am an entrepreneur. I run 4 companies at the moment, and that is alga processing upstream, Office in America, and also Oxy Creative. And that being said, I am quite busy on a daily basis. Yeah. And, and thanks for having me in the show. And by the way, I don't know if you guys know, Russ and Marianne, that we've made the announcement that as of today, officially, everybody, Office in America members, have another location located in the Heights. And yes, so you guys have access in different locations. It's a greater Houston area. So having another location is always, to me, I always count it as bringing possibilities to you guys. So just FYI, all the Office in America members, or who is yet to become our members, check it out. Office in America, we are business service provider, and we can help you with your business, help you excel. So without further ado, going back to the question, first of all, what I always tell people is calm down. When you calm, you can think better. You can think with clarity. And typically when you get into fights, sometimes you don't know what you're fighting for, just because sometimes people get lost in the fights. And people fight. We don't do childlike fighting. But
or some of us do.
Yeah, some of us still do. That's right. But we fight for what is worth. Yeah, and we have to have that fight in our lives. So keep on moving forward. And a lot of you guys tuning into the show are entrepreneurs, or you are working for companies, and you are trying to thrive to become a better you. You have to have that fight inside you, but you have to fight the right fight. So anyway, first of all, we got to calm down. And we need to realize that every single one of us is created differently. So being different means that we have different opinion, and we have different likes, different dislikes, different demand, and different outcomes, different expectations. I mean, that is given. Once we are born, we need to understand that. And that being said, sometimes all the differences, if we can't work it out properly, become difficult, and therefore the saying difficult people.
So, we have an echo, but the first step is to calm down.
Yes.
So as they're being difficult with us, okay, we just calm it down.
Yeah. A lot of times it's an emotional attachment to an outcome, and there's a lot of things that we can do is if we disconnect ourselves with the disconnect our emotions from the outcome.
And how do we do that?
Yeah.
Well, it
Oh,
takes practice.
Okay, practice makes perfect, right?
That's right. That's right.
Practice.
Step 1, calm down. Step 2, disconnect from your emotions.
Yeah.
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 Well, I don't know, Ted.
Mhm.
Can you give us some examples of some situations where it could be, because I've been in, my history is like in safety when there's an accident or something,
Right.
or somebody gets transferred to a new location and their processes are slightly different. Maybe
Right.
you can kind of go into that a little bit, Ted, and share what your experience has been and how it's been resolved.
Absolutely. And if I may add to the side note that Marian has, is great. Step 1 is calm down. And I think step 2 is understand that every single one of us is different. So it's not that people are out to get you, but we're all different. So the differences actually is automatically makes us think that everybody is being difficult with us. And now going back to Russ, you're absolutely right. When people got transferred, people work for a new company, and people go to new organizations, they just feel like, why is everybody being difficult with me? Why can't I do this? Why can't I do that?
Right.
And that's why all our employees right here, when they work with us, we sit down with them and we explain the set of expectations of our company. We tell them this is what we're trying to do with our company, and this is how we're going to do it. And when we tell them what we want to do, they're not caught off guard. And when they're not caught off guard, they're more receptive. When they feel like, okay, there's a difference right here, what's going on, they can refer back to what happened in the past, and they say, HR discussed this with me, and they said what they were going to do. So, and sometimes I like the saying that you're tripping me. I don't know if you guys remember that thing that was about like 15-year-old saying, you're tripping me. And
Yeah.
what it is that we're trying to do something, and all of a sudden, literally, like you are tripping me from what I'm trying to do, and I'm falling because of that. And when people are tripping you, we don't like it when somebody trips us.
Right.
And going back to when we were little kids, we were watching TV, and our parents said, "Let's go to sleep." That's kind of like tripping us. Can we finish until commercial, Mom? Is that okay? So.
Yeah. Let us at least finish this episode, right?
Yes, exactly. Same thing with the world today. Yeah, when people got tripped, they don't like it. So you have to tell them, okay, guys, after this, we're gonna do this. Or and Russ, you're in construction. You know how it is to meet deadlines, and projects always slip. And unfortunately, some of us have to work on weekends, weeknights, and sometimes important holidays.
Right.
Now, if you tell them an hour before they're about to get off work and they say, "Hey, I need you to stay," you're tripping them. They might not like that.
That's not very nice. That's not very nice. And
But,
what it goes down to, Ted, and what I hear you saying is it's expectation management.
Mhm.
It's a lot easier to not get upset when the expectations are set in advance.
Yes.
And everybody knows what's expected of them, right?
I think that does help.
Yeah.
Because if you're wondering, and that takes up time. What are we supposed to be doing? What's coming next? Why are you mad at me? I don't understand. Did I do something wrong? Just communicate, right?
Yeah, exactly. You're absolutely right. Sometimes, and not all managers are the best managers in the world. Not all managers are properly seasoned to become a manager. Sometimes they just got promoted, to be, and and sometimes what they understand is just if you don't like what your employees are doing, just be quiet, give them the cold shoulder, and they'll understand it. They'll figure it out. It's not the case, if the managers can't figure that out, then the employees who are working under them as a subordinate with less knowledge, less experience, less life matters. Of course, they're not going to be able to understand your cold shoulder. They're just thinking like, oh wow, my boss is just having a bad day, and unfortunately, it's 366 days this year.
Well, it usually compounds the problem because you're thinking, okay, he's giving me the cold shoulder because I did something wrong, or he's upset with me, or then you get paranoid about it, and then you might
Right.
perform worse in your task because you're thinking about what is potentially going to be wrong, when it's all just like Marion, like you said, form of communication. All it takes is a little communication, open up and say, here's what we need to do. Here's the expectations that I'm working on. I know this is not something we enjoy or appreciate. However, we got to do A, B, and C, and this is where we need to go.
Yeah.
And
okay, so I can think of a
that
scenario that happened to me, and it was so wonderful when it finally resolved. So there was some work issues, and just like you said, the boss came in. He acted like he was mad at my coworker, and he really did act like, you're going to get fired. And so we were both like, whoa, what did you do?
Wow.
In reality, it had nothing to do with her.
Mm-hmm.
It was something that happened to him at home or on the way to work. I can't remember which. And all he had to do was say, look, I'm really upset right now about something that has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
Just, and once we figured that out, it's like, okay, we can concentrate on work now.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
But
absolutely right.
that was a difficult situation,
Mm-hmm.
and it was resolved with communication.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes not everybody is as extrovert as whoever who would resolve that with a conversation. I mean, and especially you working with a bunch of engineers, a lot of engineers are introverts. I mean, truth be told, and to them it's like, whoa, what happened? And to them it's like, okay, as long as I still do my formula right and I come in at 8, leave at 5, it's not my fault, And if that continues, actually, that will snowball to eventually one day the boss is just thinking like, what? You're giving me resignation? You too? Yeah, I mean, I've seen a company that had an employee resigning all at the same time, all in the same week, about like 8 or 9 of them. They were all leaving the company. And I'm talking about, and I mean, if they talk about it, if they can negotiate in any kind of situations that they had back then, it could have been resolved differently.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And so let's get down to it. I mean, we all know that person that can be challenging at times, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why do people dread working with difficult people? I mean, you got your job to do, they got their job to do. Why does it make an impact on our lives? Why do we put so much weight into this? Ted, why do you think that is?
Well, see, when you work with difficult people, you actually mentioned it. You touched on that subject earlier. You cannot be proactive. You cannot be productive. And eventually you just feel like, I really don't want to go to work today. I mean, I've been in that situation. I've been in that situations when I wake up in the morning, if it weren't for me to be able to buy food and pay for my living expenses, I really did not want to go to work. And those difficult people, they exist in any level, whether you are a boss or you are an employee. Right. So another example that I'd like to give you was this employee that was assigned to a different branch. Now, since this is a franchise, the concept was given to the employee. Here you go. This is what you need to do and stick with it. We are franchise. We cannot divert away from that. Now, when that employee went to another branch, this branch has been it's kind of like a serving, kind of like in the legal system kind of thing. Okay. So when this employee was assigned as a legal representative in that branch, this employee was facing dilemmas. It's like, okay, so you guys are not following the steps. I can do the work for you, but you're not following the steps. Now, the customer in that branch, they're thinking like, we've never had to do this, and you are slowing us down. Can we get it faster? Can we move forward? It's just slowing us down. So when that happened, eventually the manager of the employee got called and say, hey, this is not working out. We need you to utilize another employee. So the boss called the employee, what happened, told the story. Finally, they had a meeting, the three of them, the boss, the employee, and the customer. And the employee told the customer, yeah, I had to follow procedures. It's my job. Otherwise, I'm going to get fired. And the customer said, I have to meet my quota. If you can't process it quickly, if I have to go through red tapes, then I can't meet my quota, and that's just not going to be good for me. So the boss finally said, okay, got it. I got your side of the story, employee, customer, I got your side of the story. We'll resolve this. So the boss understands the demand of each parties. The boss understands what are the expectations from these parties right here. And to make sure that both parties are not tripped, the boss finally go to the employee and said, listen, I understand that we have these procedures right here to follow, but because the customer is requesting something that's really not against the law, let's do that. Let's accommodate it. We understand it's not part of the franchise procedure, but let's change that a little bit. Now, the boss also goes to the employee, to the customer and say, sorry, we had procedures to follow, but what you're requesting here, as long as it's not against the law, and please don't go against the law, then our employee will accommodate that. And then, yeah, finally, that's the resolution. Now, that story there actually is an actual story and is the heart of the very topic. You know, they were actually thinking about that. They were being difficult to each other. But at the end of it, if you understand what each people want, you can resolve it. And once you resolve it, basically, there's no more difficulties. As a bottom line is, people have expectations, and if they're not fulfilled, that's when they feel like they're working with difficult people. But at many times, and most of the times, when you ask them, what makes you think that person A is being difficult? What makes you think person B is being difficult? And sometimes if you ask them, hey, what's going on? What do you want? How can we help? You can resolve it.
Well, and just understanding the perspective of somebody else, you know, right or wrong or indifferent, there's a lot of perception that people have that may or may not be accurate. Mm-hmm. So as a manager, you know, resolving employee to employee conflict, you know, I've been in situations where, and you've probably seen it, you know, in the industrial arena, where employees are not getting along, right? Mm-hmm. Where there's some friction. It may be because of nothing to do with work. However, when it starts impacting work, it really has to get resolved.
Right.
You know? So how should a manager, you know, work through that to identify A, what the problem is, and B, what the best resolution is? Right. Because if these two people, these individuals are not going to get along, you know, is it the employer's responsibility to make accommodations to either reassign them, or, you know, what steps do we need to take as managers in order to resolve this issue? What do you think about that, Ted?
Yeah. I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunate that I have that very experience in my life. And what I meant by that is we had two employees, and then is a gentleman and a lady. And this gentleman just fell in love with this lady, like tremendously. And so he's been dating this lady without this lady knowing it. Yeah. And
right when he was taking a drink, Ted, you just did it.
He was dating and she didn't know it.
Yeah. She didn't know it.
Yeah, so she did not know it. And so he's been spreading the rumor at work, you know, she's my girlfriend. And then finally somebody asked, I can't believe that you're dating that guy. How did you guys hook up? She's like, I'm not dating him.
Oh, Peter.
So,
no.
Yeah, so
not good.
These two people have the same manager, And the manager actually said, "Hey, listen, guy, you can't tell people you're dating her because she doesn't know it and she doesn't want to date you." And so the guy said, "Okay, yeah, sure."
Who would do that? First of all,
Yeah, and it happened again, and then HR got called. I mean, HR got called. HR actually sat him down and he said, "Listen, we want to keep you here. You're a great talent. We want to accommodate the issue here. Now, for you to continue working with us, you are to stay away from her. If you see her coming down the hall, you turn around, you walk the other way around. If you see her going into the elevator, you use the staircase. If you see her going into a staircase, you use the elevator. Just avoid her at all costs." And of course, this guy was defending himself. But I think she likes me. I think it's working out. And we had to tell him now. That is the steps, right? I mean, you're a person manager. The manager can handle it. You go to HR. I mean, you go to higher chain of command in human resources and try to tackle that. Now, this guy here, if you want to know the story, actually, it was unfortunate. He was very serious about dating this lady right here. He stalked her at the mall, and he was just screaming. He's like, "I love you." I mean, at the mall, "I love you, I love you," and she ran away, and he got drunk. He came to work at 3 a.m. in the morning. He was punching the walls at work. I mean, he left holes in there, and no, we still have to calm down as managers.
Sure.
Calm down. We still have to understand. Okay, what's going on? Why is it being difficult? And and we tell him, "Hey, listen, we think the best way for you to actually not to get this inside your head all the time and constantly is to really have you in a separate place." Yeah, we
not work here.
Yeah, that's right. We have to let you go. So, but and this thing here actually is an unfortunate story that we had to let him go. But a lot of cases actually, we can just talk to them and say, "Stop it, don't do that," and the problem dissipates. And even with the managers, we tell them, "Hey, we know you're trying to exert your leadership and charisma in your employees or in the internal department customers. We understand that, but they take it the wrong way. They think that you're trying to give them a hard time, and you're not." And
Yeah, and one thing that you've probably seen as well, and I know that this is the case, is there's a high quality employee that's done a great job at what they're doing, and then they're promoted to be a manager when they have no management experience or skills to support. So they're completely out of their arena because they were doing a great job at what they were doing. That's why they were promoted, the recognition. However, they were not given adequate training to be able to support the management skills, which is a completely different skill set than it is to do, work on the field, right?
Yeah.
And so there's steps that need to be taken, and so that's an unfortunate circumstance, and it happens all the time. And then people start getting upset because they're, it's fear, it's change, it's, there's a lot of things that can go on, and so have you had that experience, Ted, where you've had to resolve that or provide training for people that you've promoted in a management role that you've had to make adjustments for?
Yeah, and that's very true. Some people actually need to understand that they're not always the problem. By the way, people need to understand that sometimes when those kind of things happen, it's not their fault, and sometimes the manager is not prepared. And I have seen managers who are like in their 60s, in their 70s, and you think that they have one of my great ex-bosses. He said, he has eaten a lot of salt, meaning that he has experienced the life. So sometimes you think that they've eaten a lot of salt, and they have not. Sometimes they know how to manufacture pipes, flanges, valves, or structures in a split of a second in their sleep, but they have never been exposed to management.
Right.
And that can become a problem. And let's face it today. To the viewers, by the way, I just want to brag on Future Media. Not everybody understands how to get involved with today's technology and tools. So Future Media, just in case you are, let's face it, if you are challenged in the area right there, go grab Future Media, get a hold of Russ or Marian. They can help you out with that. But not everybody knows how to deal with everything. They're great at something, but not everybody is jack of all trade.
Right.
And going back to what you're saying, Russ, some managers, they don't even know that for example, in cultural differences in Asia, Asians did not grow up with saying no. Yeah, if somebody older than you or has a higher authority than you, and they ask, can you do this? Can you do that? We were not. We were not programmed to say no. Yeah. Right. Yeah. We were just programmed to actually just take that in. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. We'll do it. But it's not now. Managers don't know that, right? And we are in the United States, so the managers who are not with Asian background, they don't understand, and they're just thinking like, wow, this Asian guy is amazing. He just keeps on taking in task after task. Yeah, but
this person quit. Well, he's not going to quit because he's not going to say no, right?
Right, exactly.
Oh, that's brutal.
That is brutal. Oh man.
Yeah, no pushback and saying, "Hey, no, I need a weekend. Sorry."
Right.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. So, that goes back to what I would think is training. That has, cultural awareness, cultural diversity. Being, we're in Houston, which is one of the most diverse cities in the world. And it's just amazing how many different cultures and how many different nuances are available right here in Houston. And, you see it all the time, and we don't even think about it because we're looking at it from our perspective.
Yeah.
And that's how a manager in a company is going to look at an employee, right? They're only going to be able to see it from their perspective unless there's some additional training available. So that's one area that we need to really think about as an organization and a company is how can we train people to be, aware and considerate towards others' philosophies and work ethics, right?
Right. Oh, exactly. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah. So I think as a highlight of this show right here is that just understand that when people are being difficult, it just means that there are some differences that you have to work out, have worked out. And as what you mentioned earlier, you, Russ, and Marian, is that some people sometimes they don't know what you expect. They don't know what's going on with you in your life. And sometimes they just suspect like, oh, wow, you're just being difficult. You're just giving me a hard time. But that's not always the case, So just don't get on a defensive mode. Understand what other parties want, what they expect, and work it out. And many times, actually, the solution is just as simple as asking the question.
Yeah, asking questions and listening to people's, pain. What are they going through?
Exactly.
It could be temporary, or it could just be a misunderstanding, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, Ted, for being here today and on tools, technology, and teamwork. And Ted Limon is an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur. He has multiple companies, a great announcement with Office in America and some other locations that are going to be available. And I actually, Mary and I have both met Annie And so I'm excited for that news, and thanks for making that happen for all the people in Office in America. And then also for alga processing and all the things you do in alga processing upstream, and some of the things that you're doing in technology and in the industry. I know it's important work for a lot of people, and they look forward to having you succeed. So we're excited to have you on the show, and
Glad to be here.
Get some of these questions answered about marketing and production and management and all the things that we need to think about in business. So really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And with that, Marion, any closing comments you'd like to share?
Just come back and see us again. We're here every single week.
Every single week?
Yeah, we have a new topic that we're talking about, and we encourage you to bring in your questions. We encourage you to visit Ted at some of his websites and actually contact him. He's a great resource.
Oh, phenomenal resource, and he could probably help you out in your business. So, or if you have projects, project management is always a skill set that he can share with you.
I was really looking forward to this show, so thank you very much
for
this topic.
Thanks,
Thank you, Ted, and we'll see you again soon.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.